Buddy, it's Fion, and in this episode, we are going to, I don't know if I have episodes, but in this video, I really want to talk about health and anarchy and how they really go hand in hand, because I think that's incredibly important that, that we realize as anarchists that health is truly something that's intrinsically valuable. One thing I was noticing today while driving around, now I've moved to Washington. I live very close to Seattle, and I think this is a problem that you see in a lot of bigger cities, and that is just people that are down and out, people that are homeless perhaps, living on the streets, and you can just see it in their face, the sadness, the hardship, basically just like giving up on life. And then you also see another thing that's coming, unfortunately, becoming very common, is just people not really focusing on their own health, and I hate to be, I don't want to be, I don't want to come off sounding judgmental, but health, I feel, is something you can see in a person. And I'm not saying, like a physical beauty. It's a vibrancy. And there's something that, you transition to health, especially if you're at a point right now where you're not where you want to be health-wise. Perhaps there are symptoms you're dealing with that you wish weren't there. Or perhaps you just don't feel the energy you used to have. Or, there could be a plethora of things, Maybe you want to lose weight, maybe you want to gain weight. I find a lot of women want to lose weight, a lot of men, they want to put on weight or put on muscle. So you're not where you want to be. Or let's say you have been diagnosed with something by a doctor. And on this channel, I want to point out I don't deal with diseases. And maybe I should, and I apologize for moving around quite a bit. I have a 14-year-old dog who's being treated homeopathically, and, he's 14, he's getting to that age, and he's having a lot of issues, and the homeopathic remedy I just gave him takes a little while for it to settle in, but then he calms down a little bit. But one of the symptoms he expresses, which makes me know that he needs a remedy, is that he starts getting really clingy, and he tries to climb up on me, and he's always underfoot. And then my other two crazy dogs are barking at the cute little Lhasa Apso across the street. Days of our doggy lives, right? I could do a soap opera just on my pets alone. I hope they're not too loud in the background. I don't have editing software, so I can't really edit out their barking. Sorry. And this is why I like to do videos at night, because it's typically quieter. Daytime, the dogs are all about everybody's business. So, coming back to health and anarchy. So, as anarchists, as an anarchist, someone that really wants to live a life of truth and freedom, there's some responsibility there. And that responsibility means that you need to be able to take care of ourselves. One thing the government does to keep them in power is that government creates dependence upon itself. They want to keep that system, that immoral system where they steal, in place by, giving us little things here and there that make us think, oh, we need the government. Because if the government goes away, where are we going to get these little freebies that they've been giving us? Like, the roads, which are, such a big issue. And what are some of the other things the government, we think we need the government for? I don't know. There's just a shitload of things that most people in their everyday lives really, maybe other than driving on roads and walking on sidewalks, which, when it comes down to it, humans are the ones that actually build roads. Humans are the ones that lay down pavement for sidewalks, not government. You probably don't see Barack Obama out there paving a street, do you? No. Government does bullshit. They don't do anything. I'm really trying to limit my cursing. Okay, because I don't want to offend anybody. If you're offended by cursing, though, I'll try not to be. It's not worth it. Being offended, it's not fun. Just don't be offended. Don't take things so personally. So anyway, we have to realize that, okay, if we're going to live in an anarcho, natural law, capitalistic society, and I'm going to try not to use capitalism too much because, I got Facebook friends that don't like the word capitalism, even though capitalism truly doesn't exist because government is involved with capitalism, and those two are like opposites. Capitalism is the individual, it's freedom, and government is socialism and not freedom. So we have to be able to take care of ourselves. We have to be sovereign. Now when I say that, I don't mean that we don't need each other. Humans are social animals. We do need each other. We need to help each other out. But we don't need government to force us to help each other out, because government doesn't necessarily know the best way that I need help from another individual. And that takes courage to ask for help. It also takes courage to offer help. So, we have to have this transparency about us where we can be honest with ourselves and say, this is what I need, and I want to live in a society where I can meet those needs, but I have to do it based on my ability to create those connections. And then, another thing I think we all need is health. So the last thing we ever want is to be dependent on government for our health. Because there are two systems in place right now. One that's completely immoral, and that's government. And the other one that is right up there with government, and that's allopathic medicine. Both of these systems are pretty corrupt. Now, with allopathic medicine, it's like with everything. How the government has their little freebies and their little things that they do for us that make them look, virtuous and whatnot. Well, allopathic medicine does the same thing. Case in point, I had to spend 3 weeks at the hospital getting my ankle put back together after it was severely damaged from rock climbing, and I fell. And I am incredibly grateful that there is emergency medicine and orthopedic surgeons that have the skills that can put those that helped me. If it wasn't for the emergency medicine physicians and the orthopedic surgeon and that surgical team, I wouldn't be able to get back to the things that I enjoy doing on this planet, and I'm working my way up to that. So those are the benefits of allopathic medicine for sure. Having a good surgeon and a good emergency medical doctor is valuable. There's a lot of healthcare though modalities out there, and I think where allopathy shines is in certain surgical techniques, mostly reconstructive surgery, and then I also think allopathic medicine shines, like I said, in emergency situations. But take that away, and allopathic medicine pretty much sucks. Their maintenance of chronic disease is just that. They maintain chronic diseases. And why? Why do they like to have people kind of at this level of sickness where they're healthy enough just to be functional, just to kind of work at a job where they can pay income tax? But they really can't do anything beyond that because, if they're truly healthy, they're truly vibrant individuals, then they won't need this system that is completely corrupt. So that's what allopathy tries to create, is just a system of humans that continue to need their services. And they really work hand in hand with the pharmaceutical companies to create, again, dependency. And that's where these immoral systems are really shining at how they're immoral, is because they don't want us to be free. And true freedom means we're not dependent upon any system. Yes, we can be dependent on each other, I'm going to need people in my life to help me out with certain things. And so we need other humans, but we don't need these systems that are in place that like to steal and then hand things out very sparingly just to kind of, make people think that they're a necessity when they're really not. So what can we do to empower ourselves? And that's one of the things, now that I'm 10 minutes into this video, that's one of the things I'd like to talk about, is how we can empower ourselves with health, with vibrant, robust health. And that comes with detoxification. So detoxification is something everybody needs to go through, especially if you've been living on a standard Western diet and lifestyle. A typical health scenario for most people is that we're chronically stressed and we eat a stress-promoting diet. That is a diet that promotes inflammation in the body, a diet that does not help us cleanse, that does not keep our lymphatic system flowing, our digestive tract clean. We need those things because elimination is a big part of staying healthy. One thing that creates, and I don't like to use the word disease, so I'm not going to use the word disease, because as a health coach, as someone that is creating hopefully I don't want to call it, I don't know, maybe it is a business. It's going to be something that can help people. That's what I want to do. I want to help people regain their health. Unfortunately, government can put me in jail. They can put me behind bars for using the word diseases, because diseases in truth aren't anything that I deal with. They're words, they're names that allopathic medicine has come up with for a set of symptoms. And so they like to come up with these words like multiple sclerosis and diabetes mellitus type 1, diabetes mellitus type 2, ALS. You've heard of all of these diseases. I'm not going to give you any more examples, but I don't want to use the word disease, because all it is a collective of symptoms. And really all symptoms come down to a couple of things that are creating those symptoms in the body. And so where I come into play is, let's look at these symptoms and what caused them. Why are they there? Why are you feeling the way you are feeling? And let's remove those causes. That's really as simplistic as it gets. So that's what I want to help people do. And the best way to do that is through detoxification. And then putting good stuff back into the body so that we can regenerate and rebuild. Because that's how health is created. It's very simple. Most things that are truthful, most things that promote freedom are very simple. Where complexities come into play is where you have, again, these systems that want to create fear. Because with fear, you're more likely to control people. Like the Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution. Let's create this problem, which we'll call a disease, and we'll scare you into following our treatment. And what's really scary is you look at just how trapped we are by allopathic medicine. I mean, most people that work and have health insurance, the only types of physicians that their health insurance will cover are allopaths. And so they're kind of stuck. And then allopathic physicians, I'm not saying allopathic physicians are bad people, okay? I'm saying that they belong to an evil system. That's what I'm saying. Like I said, there are wonderful surgeons and emergency medical people that are out there. They're not bad people. They do great work, but a lot of them there are some bad allopaths, and they exist, right? So where was I going with this? All right. So yeah, a lot of people are stuck in this system because of their jobs, and the doctors are very limited. Do you know that a doctor can lose his or her license if he offers, let's say one of their patients comes down with cancer, and they suggest an alternative treatment, or a treatment that's outside of the normal box of, chemo and radiation therapy, they can actually lose their license. And then you have these clinics like Gerson, okay, the Gerson therapy. Gerson is I think it was a German physician back in the maybe in the late 1800s, early 1900s. I have his book here somewhere. And through trial and error, he started helping people, with illnesses. And he had wonderful results. So look into the Gerson therapy. And people have had really great success with Gerson therapy. Where I like to refer people mostly is to Dr. Robert Morse. I think he is an amazing, true healer on this planet. And you can get free health advice from him. He has a YouTube channel where he does videos where he addresses people's health questions. And I really love him because he gets into kind of like spirituality and things like that, which I think, that's really where we're looking at, like how humans thrive and how we connect, and that spiritual connection that can help us truly heal, because, we're more than just these physical bodies. And yes, physical bodies, they reach an end. They reach a point where they can no longer function, and that's where having this really solid foundation in spirituality, I think, is important. So Dr. Robert Morse MD, I know I've mentioned him on my previous videos, so please check that out as well. So coming back again, how we heal. And if you want, if you'd like to reach out to me and you have some health questions, please type them in the comment section, or if you have something specifically you're dealing with, please let me know. I'd like to address people's issues, if you don't mind sharing them. And I don't, I won't use your name or anything. I'm just going to offer you advice. And if I think you might be a benefit with some plants, because I think plants heal. Plants are here to help us connect with our own health and help us to connect with higher levels of consciousness spiritually. So, I do use medicinal herbs often. I am using them with my pets as well. So if you have questions about your pets, I have a lot of experience with that. I treat my own animals with herbs, and then I also use homeopathic remedies to help them as well with certain symptoms they might be experiencing. And my animals have been doing great, for the most part. I mean, my oldest I have a 17-year-old cat, and she's doing wonderful. So my 14-year-old dog is having some issues, but you know what? He's been through a tough spell with being separated from me while I was hospitalized. So we're trying to help him come back and get back to his old self, because he's a really loving little dog. But just simplistically, what kind of things, what can you do to help create vibrant health in your own life? Well, stress is the biggest one. So I think stress is one of the biggest causes of disease, because someone that can follow the healthiest diet in the world, if they live a stressful life, if they're constantly concerned, worried, upset, that can create a stress response. And chronic stress responses do a lot of terrible things in the body. There's 3 stages to the stress response. Alert, it's ARE, alert, and resistance and exhaustion. I think R is resistance. I have to go back and look at that again. So the alert phase is that initial stress response, and usually that's through the nervous system. So the brain, which perceives something that creates stress, triggers the hypothalamus to send out, sympathetic signals. So the sympathetic nervous system is part of the autonomic nervous system, and it responds to my little doggies. I wish I could have a camera right here. My little 14-year-old dog has just got his little cute little face right on my lap, and he's being so handsome right now. Yes, he is. But the sympathetic nervous system triggers certain nerves to trigger changes in blood flow. So with stress, less blood travels to our core, more blood travels to our arms and legs. And also the microcirculation in our brain changes when we're stressed. More blood actually travels to the brainstem, into what we call kind of the limbic or the reptilian brain. Less blood travels to the higher level thinking brain, mostly the frontal lobe of the brain. So when you're stressed, you're not thinking as clearly. You're not using higher levels of thought. You're more reactive. That's what, like, that reptilian brain, it's a more reactive response. And then also your core, your digestive system organs, your the organs in the center of your body, they're not receiving as much nourishment because all of the blood is going to your arms and legs. And why is that? Well, when you're in a truly stressful situation, like let's say there's a guy with a gun chasing you, and you really need to haul ass and get the hell out of there, you want more blood going to your arms and legs so that you can run faster. And also more blood goes to your heart, so your heart beats faster. Your pulmonary circuit is going to be experiencing more blood flow, and then also your lungs are expanding more so you can get more oxygen in, and then you're delivering that oxygen to your body. You're also triggering more sugar to be released into your blood, so your blood sugar levels go up. So there's this cascade of events. And then after that nervous system response, then you get more into the kind of the more chronic level of stress response, which involves hormones like cortisol. Epinephrine and norepinephrine are also hormones that are going to be triggered in this more longer lasting stress response. And all of those hormones also trigger an increase in blood sugar. So they target the liver. The liver breaks down its stores of glycogen, and then that glycogen, when broken down, sends glucose into the blood. Our blood glucose levels spike. Having chronic high levels of blood glucose is dangerous because glucose is very hard on the inside of our blood vessel lining. It can deteriorate that lining. And most of us already have too much processed sugar in our diet anyway. Drinking a lot of soda and eating all of the shit, that's all of the crappy food that's out there, that has all of this processed sugar in it. So we've got all of these things putting more and more glucose into our blood, and our blood glucose levels go up. Having chronic elevated levels of glucose in the blood can inflame and deteriorate the lining of blood vessels. And when that happens for a long period of time and it's not addressed, then that can lead to the blood not flowing as effectively. And when you get blood flowing less effectively to certain organs of the body, it ends up with certain kind of symptoms that you see. You could start getting ulcers. You've got cracks in your hands or your feet, especially in the feet, that don't heal very well. The healing response overall is like if you cut yourself, you're not healing very well. And we need our blood. We need our blood circulation to deliver oxygen and nutrients throughout the body. So if that's not working as well as it should be, overall you're going to feel crappy. You're going to be out of breath. You're going to be tired all of the time. And, one disease that is often named, which I'm not curing any disease here, I'm curing symptoms. I'm not even curing anything. I'm not curing anything. You got that? People that monitor shit. All I'm saying is that if you want to reverse these symptoms of having elevated blood glucose levels that are dragging you down, you have to let go of the stress. And then also, you want to focus on diet. Okay, so let's look at diet now. And, I guess maybe I should just step back a little bit. So stress, how is it that we get rid of stress? I think the biggest thing is reprioritize your life. Is there anything in your life that you can change that can help you take some of the stress away? Whether it be cutting back hours at work, spending more time with your loved ones, with friends, with family, with people that really help you have joy in your life, people that you can spend time with and you can explore the world with and appreciate what is out there. If you're stuck in a cubicle, or you're stuck inside, or you're stuck in front of a TV or a computer screen all the time, and you're not out there living life, and you're not looking at the mountains and the ocean and getting on a bike and riding your bike around. Today I rode my bike around, and I went to the county little corner market and bought a bunch of produce and put it in my little basket, and I just felt like so good doing those things. So get out in nature and just find time to connect with those things that are really important. So those are some things you can do to help with your own stress. And no matter where you are in the world, you can always walk outside and breathe in the fresh air. Maybe you're not fortunate enough to have fresh air. So that's another thing you want to look at. Maybe you need to physically relocate if your environment is stress promoting. Look at your relationships. I was talking to someone today about, romantic relationship. Are you in a relationship with someone that's chronically causing stress in your life, Address that. Talk to them. Communicate more. Communication is incredibly important. Being honest. Being straightforward with someone. Letting someone know how something makes you feel. Being honest with yourself. Are you lying to yourself? Are you making excuses for someone else's behavior or your own behavior instead of doing something to change it, instead of addressing it? So these are all different ways that you can, face things. And by being direct, you feel good. You feel like, okay, I'm facing this problem, I'm addressing it, and I'm going to be creating less stress in my life overall. And then as far as diet is concerned, when I help people with dietary changes, I kind of look at what kind of symptoms they're experiencing and how severe they are. And if it's just something like weight loss, or if it's something like, I want to overall just have more energy, I'd like to lose a few pounds, I'd like to, things like that, then I usually transition people a little bit more slowly into a healthy diet. Because if you change your diet too quickly, you're going to have some detoxification symptoms. They call it a healing crisis, where your body is releasing all of the stored toxic material and dumping it into your eliminative organs, limiting it into your blood as well, and your kidneys filter your blood. And while that stuff is being dumped into your blood, you're not going to feel so hot. So detoxifying slowly is something that benefits you, especially, if you have to work 40 hours a week and you don't want to be at work and feeling crappy while you're healing. So let's say that you're just like an everyday person, you've got let's say 10 pounds to lose, 15 pounds to lose, or maybe you have 50 pounds to lose. But overall, you're not doing too bad. You would like to have a little bit more energy, maybe you'd like to sleep better. Maybe you just kind of feel stressed, you'd like to experience more joy. Those are things that I think I can offer you help with. So a typical, just very prototypical set of things that I would give someone as advice. I would say, okay, let's start transitioning our diet, because your diet is key. Obviously focusing on the stress in your life, you're doing that already. And then look at the diet. The very first thing I would suggest is waking up every morning and drinking a big glass of water with some freshly squeezed lemon juice. That's a really beautiful way just to start your day. In fact, I need to start doing that myself. I need more lemons in my life. And the lemons are very cleansing. Lemons are astringent fruits, meaning what they do is they help to pull things out of your tissues. And when they pull that out and they put it into the blood, then it flows down to your kidneys, and then you start eliminating these things. So you start eliminating things from the blood into your urine. So you might start peeing a lot, and that's okay. Whenever you're detoxifying, whenever you're changing your diet, make sure you can get to a bathroom, because you're gonna have to pee a lot. But start your day with some lemon water. That's a great thing to do. And then try to start your day with some fruit as well, or a green smoothie. I think green smoothies are fantastic. If you can get a pretty good blender, that's a really good thing to have. because it's something I think portable. You can blend up some greens and some fruits, put it in a little to-go cup or into a little thermos, and you can just drink that. I like to kind of hold off on breakfast until, I don't know, maybe around 10, 11, or 12, because the longer you can go without eating first thing in the morning, the more cleansing is taking place. It's a big fallacy to eat a big breakfast. Big breakfast, not a good idea. I would hold off on eating until at least after 10 a.m. And then start with some fruits or like a green smoothie or something like that. Now, when you're transitioning and you're slowing it down, I would just stay the first week or so, do that. Just start your day like that. So start off with some positive things that you're doing for yourself. Lemon water, and then like fruit or a green smoothie for breakfast. Let's say you do that for a couple of weeks and you're starting to feel pretty good. Then let's look at your next meal in the day. And I would only really eat twice a day. You don't need to eat more than that. Unless it's a special condition, I think just having like a meal at like 10 or 11 and then another meal at maybe 5 or 6 is sufficient. So your second meal, initially, first couple of weeks, whatever you want to eat, do it, right? But let's make the second meal a healthy meal. And initially I would say let's do like a healthy cooked meal. Like maybe get some coconut oil and cut up some veggies. And then saute some onions and some maybe some mushrooms, some celery, garlic, and just saute it in a little frying pan. Stay away from salt, though. We don't need salt in our diet. Even if it's sea salt, it's all going to have the same effect. You don't need it. So try to start eliminating the salt. If you want to use some spices, like maybe a curry or some turmeric or a little cayenne is fine, but stay away from the salts. So having like some veggies, maybe some steamed veggies. One thing I like to do is I have a huge pot where I can steam a lot of vegetables. So I chop up some broccoli, I maybe chop up some sweet potatoes, lots of veggies, carrots, celery, anything. Throw it into the steamer, and then I usually put that on a big bed of lettuce. I like to make my own salad dressings, because again, anything you buy at the store, if it comes in a plastic bottle, it's going to have a lot of chemicals and a lot of preservatives. So we're really trying to eat a purer diet, a diet with fewer things added that are meant to extend shelf life, because we don't want that in our bodies. We want things that are going to create vibrancy, electricity, to help us feel happy, to feel positive, to feel, like we can take on the world. So make your own salad dressings. One of my most favorite salad dressings is an avocado orange dressing. So I take 1 or 2 avocados, I cut it open, remove the pit, throw it into a blender, and then I take 1 or 2 oranges. If it's a big orange, you just need 1 or 2 smaller ones, and I squeeze the juice of those oranges in there. Then I might take a little piece of celery and throw it in there too. Celery is a natural source of organic salts, so you don't need to add any other salts. So I throw that in there. So you've got your orange, you've got your avocado, you've got your celery, and then maybe a couple of cherry tomatoes, and then you blend it all up, and you have this kind of creamy salad dressing. You can also use it as a dip if you want to make it a little bit thicker, maybe add a little bit more avocado. And you can just pour that over your greens, and then you have your side of steamed vegetables or sauteed vegetables. Sauté in coconut oil, I think, is always good, though. Down the line, you kind of want to get away from the oils and maybe just use those more topically. But this is all transition, what I'm telling you right now. So we're transitioning into a very clean diet. And the transition is incredibly important because it gets you to where you want to be without too many symptoms of detoxification. Now, you might detox a little bit. You might have a headache, but that's okay. So focus on those kind of foods for your 2 meals per day, and then really get rid of everything else. You want to stay away from anything processed. Anything that comes in a box or in a plastic container. You want to stay away from the fast food. I mean, fast foods, most restaurants overall add way too much salt to everything. One thing I find interesting, and I'm very sensitive to, because I've been eating a very clean diet for a pretty long time. And when I go to a restaurant, let's say I'm out with friends and I go to a restaurant and I order a meal, and I'm ordering a vegan meal and it's cooked, the next morning I wake up and my face is like puffy because of all of the salt they add. And usually my body's just like, what the F, we haven't had this much processed salt in such a while, and my kidneys, they're trying to eliminate it, but it's like they're not used to it. So I'm very sensitive to those things. And that's normal. It's normal because these things should not be in our diet. What's not normal is that people are used to those things and their bodies don't react as much. And when you're not reacting at elimination, which is what we need to do, we need to eliminate, that stuff stays in the body, and it creates chronic inflammation. And chronic inflammation leads to tissue changes, which leads to disease. And that's really how simplistic diseases are. I don't like to use the word diseases. This is how simplistic feeling not well is. And so we want to enhance the organs of elimination to help clear the body out of all that crap we've been storing, and then we want to put the good stuff in. So I would start there. Now, if you did have something like a health concern, you had a set of symptoms that you were trying to eliminate and reverse, then I can help you with that as well. Depending on your situation, there are different herbs that might be really beneficial for you. And so part of the detoxification course that I've recently completed was helping people using different herbal tinctures to help them detoxify more effectively. So this is where the plants are. And so these are still whole foods, but you concentrate them in a little tincture of glycerol or capsules, powdered herbs in capsules, and those help as well. And there's different formulas that I pretty much always suggest for people, and also for pets if your pets are having any kind of health concerns. And these are herbs that help with enhancing the lymphatic system, and the lymphatic system is kind of it's a vessel system outside of the blood circulation, and it really helps to remove things from our tissue. If you study, just like a traditional anatomy and physiology course, they always talk about how the lymphatic system helps with fluid balance in the body, and it does. It helps to remove excess fluids from our body, from certain tissues, or from all over the body, really. If you have any kind of lymphatic obstruction, you start getting swelling, you start getting edema. So it's really important that the lymphatic system is working to cleanse the tissues out. But in addition to removing excess fluid, the lymphatic system also removes excess toxic material. So enhancing the ability of the lymphatic system is incredibly important. Also the kidneys. The kidneys are our internal detoxifying organs. They take our blood and fluids, they take internal fluids in the body, and they remove them out into the urine. And so we really want to enhance that process as well. A third thing I always suggest to people that have symptoms that they're trying to get rid of, because they're symptoms of not the body not responding well, and that's the digestive tract, our GI tract. We want to keep that clean. Eating a diet rich in fruits and vegetables is going to do that naturally because of the high fiber content in plant foods. And also the fiber helps to kind of scrape the walls, the inside walls of the colon, of the intestinal tract, and that helps to prevent accumulations, which can lead to things like, nasty crap like polyps and cancers and things like that. That with growths, we don't want to go there, right? We don't want to go that far. So we want to keep the digestive tract very clean so that we can eliminate the foods we do not absorb more effectively. So enhancing the lymphatic system, enhancing the urinary system, the kidneys, enhancing the digestive tract. Those three things. The fourth thing, so there's 4 different herbal formulas I would suggest. The fourth one is our endocrine system. The endocrine system is our system of endocrine glands. and there are many endocrine glands in the body, the thyroid, the pituitary, the adrenal glands, the pancreas, the ovaries, the testes. So our endocrine glands secrete hormones, and our hormones basically, they're kind of like the government. They keep things running smoothly in the body. And we want to enhance our endocrine glands so that they help keep our body, and did I just say our endocrine glands are like the government? Ew! That's an analogy Dr. Morris uses. And I know deep down inside Dr. Morris is an anarchist because of the way he talks. I don't want to say that the endocrine glands are like the government. They're like an anarcho natural law society of people that work to keep our bodies running clear. Maybe that's a better analogy. So yeah, the endocrine glands, though, you just want to support those as well. If you have specific endocrine gland issues that you'd like to address, like maybe you have issues with your thyroid gland, or maybe you have issues with your adrenal glands, there are other things we can do as well. So with this channel, I would love to connect with all of you. If you have questions, my normal 40-hour-a-week job is that I teach human anatomy and physiology. I've gone to medical school. I'm very knowledgeable about how the human body works. So when I talk about these things, I'm not just pulling shit out of my ass. I really understand the body, and it is very simplistic. That's one thing I try to get across to my students, is that the body, how a cell works, and how we are just this group of cells that work together to keep our body running effectively is very simple. We have very simplistic needs, and as long as we provide the correct nourishment and we get rid of stuff, we eliminate so we don't have a toxic accumulation anywhere in the body, you're going to stay healthy. So health is so important. If we're going to live in an anarcho-capitalistic natural law society, we have to keep ourselves healthy. And why else is health important? Because it's going to help you experience the most on this planet while you're here. I mean, we're here to kind of think of your soul, which is this thing that never dies. Okay, so we are these souls in a living body, and we're on this planet for however many years, and we're here to learn something. If you have that as your main focus, that's why you're on this planet, to learn something and to experience something, so that you're enhancing your soul lifeline. I don't know how to put it in words, but we're not on this planet just simply to stay in a cubicle or a box and pay bills and pay taxes and worry about crappy shit that they tell us to worry about on the news. That's not our soul's purpose. We're here to experience life. We're here to use these things called sensory receptors. Seeing beautiful things with our eyes, hearing beautiful music, smelling beautiful smells. I love to have fresh flowers, even though I don't have anything in my house right now. Usually I have incense burning, though. But having beautiful smells, beautiful things around us. Smells are wonderful, by the way. That's a whole other thing we can talk about. Dr. Morris kind of touched upon that in his latest video about smells and how they enhance certain things. And the sensation of smell is incredibly mystical. It's the most mystical of all of the sensory receptors, because physiologically, when you study how the senses work, all of our senses go through the thalamus, and then they have a certain part of the brain where we become consciously aware of that sense. But smell bypasses the thalamus, and because of that, it's a little bit more mystical. It triggers memories. It's kind of a cool sense. And so having beautiful smells around you, I think, is really important. So I'm going to end it here, 4444. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I look forward to connecting with you all again. I hope you like this this health-related video. If you want to see more of these kind of videos, let me know. Or if you like it when I'm drinking a hard cider and cursing a lot, let me know that too. I can go both ways. But I want to really help us all to become sovereign and to be individuals that can really help this planet out, help life on this planet, and help each other out by being as healthy as possible. Adios.